I think we have someone on webcam. Thank you. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Community Talk number 15. I'll be your host today, and we have lots of community updates to talk about today. As you all know, the merge happened recently, so this is the first community talk since the merge, so we'll be diving into that. And we also have some speakers here today as well. So let's go ahead and get started with community updates. Alrighty. So we do have some interesting events coming up next month in October. We have ETH Bogota, which will be happening from the 7th to the 9th of October. And the graph will be present. And there will be a subgraph bounty available for $5,000. So any devs that would like to participate, I would highly encourage you to look into that. And we also have DEF CON coming up, which is also going to be in October and also in Bogota, which will take place from the 11th through the 14th of October. And that is actually the first DEF CON since the pandemic hit, if I remember. I think the last one was in 2019. So yeah, it'll be, I anticipate it will be pretty big. Especially since the merge just happened as well. So good stuff. All right. And now for some community updates regarding AdvocatesDAO, Graph AdvocatesDAO. We have a lot of grant proposals out on the Graph AdvocatesDAO forum, and we would love feedback. So highly encouraged, in a Web3 permissionless world, anyone can partake if they would like to. So if you would like to go check out these grant proposals and even vote on them, we would, the Graph AdvocatesDAO would appreciate that very, very much. So go ahead and take a look. I believe the links are being dropped in the chat. So and then there is also a language support GOC. GOCs are Graph AdvocatesDAO operation codes, which are essentially the framework through which the DAO operates. And we have a GOC up, waiting for feedback, essentially. So if you'd like to go show your support and give feedback on the language support GOC, that's in regards to helping advocates reach out to people in their regions and allowing for easier collaboration and thus allowing them to contribute even further to the program. That would be great. And if you do want to contribute further to the program, you can also apply to be an advocate yourself. We have text translator roles and community care roles that you can help out with if you feel like language support is something you really want to partake in. So you can take a look at that as well. All right. Next up, we have some GRTIQ episodes that came out recently. We have the special edition number 79, Becoming an Indexer at the Graph. Very, very special podcast there, especially with the MIPs program that's basically been launched. So if you're very interested in becoming an indexer, I highly encourage you read that or you listen to that podcast. And another very interesting podcast that was recently released, podcast episode, was number 80 for GRTIQ, episode 80, with Ryan Selkis and Vincent Wen of Masari. Ryan, of course, is the CEO and founder, and Vincent, he works for the data department, if I remember correctly, for the data section of Masari, and they, as you all know, I think they were the first core subgraph dev group to join the graph. So it's a very important episode. They're working on the standardization of subgraphs. So take a look at that episode. And all right. We also have a couple of newsletters for the month of August that were just recently released as well. We have This Month in Curation that was posted on the Graph forum. take a look at that. And we also have this month in indexing, which goes further into the MIPS program. So those links are being dropped right now into the chat. So take a look at those if you are interested. Alrighty. We also have some advocate contributions highlights. So we have some subgraph docs that there's a subgraph doc initiative being led by Derek Mayer of Data Nexus. And we actually have an advocate here with us. His name is Paulie, who has been assisting Derek in this initiative. Paulie, are you there?
Yes. How's it going?
Hi, thanks. It's going great. Can you give us a little more info on what it is you do with Derek on this subgraph doc initiative?
Sure. I was just talking to Derek. He's always up to some interesting things, and he was finalizing the documents for some of the subgraphs he's published. And instead of telling me about it, he actually showed me how to do it, and it seemed interesting to me, and I wanted to kind of get my feet wet on doing some things. So, I completed one, and he helped me with that, and that led to another, and it kind of morphed into a project. And now we kind of provide subgraph docs to projects that are willing to let us do that for them. It's kind of the finishing touch on a subgraph that and it can help people contribute to the to the graph ecosystem.
That's awesome. And I'm just curious, do you have any technical background in order to do this? Do you need any? Or
I went into it with no technical background, and I was kind of new to GitHub. It's a good place to get your feet wet, to kind of get an understanding, and it's not something terribly difficult, so you can do it. It's a little bit of a learning curve, to be honest, but even someone who has no technical background can probably dive into it.
that's
And
awesome.
I believe there is a link for anyone who wants to share with projects who might need help with their subgraph docs that someone might have posted in the chat.
Okay, I believe we just posted the subgraph doc request form. But yeah, no, it's great to hear that you guys are working on this, because I'm sure lots of dApps out there are going to need help with their subgraph docs. So that's great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Paulie.
Anytime.
All right. We also have a couple other advocate contributions to highlight. We have Chidubem and Tony, who both made articles on querying subgraphs. Chidubem's is his article is on working with GraphQL, and Tony's is with working with Python. So anyone who is interested, you can take a look at those articles. They're very, very helpful because, querying subgraphs, as you can imagine, is going to be very important. So that's very, very great for the ecosystem to have this kind of information out there on querying subgraphs. So those links to both articles will be dropped into the chat. And lastly, just wanted to give everybody, let everybody know that there are open positions in the graph ecosystem, and you can take a look at that, and the link will be dropped as well. At the moment, I believe there is a very high priority for a UI designer at Edge and Node. So if anybody is interested in that, or knows someone who is interested in that, feel free to share the link for open positions at the graph with them. And there are over about 20 or so open positions. So there are lots of jobs out there within the graph ecosystem available. So yes, as mentioned, the links will be dropped in the chat, so keep an eye out for that as well. Alrighty. All right, we're going to get started on our first segment, which is on the migration infrastructure providers, and as well as Gnosis Chain. We'll be talking about the Gnosis Chain adoption to the graph ecosystem. So, Colson, are you there? Or I believe
yes.
Nick.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi. And I believe Nick. Sorry. Yeah, Nick will be talking about that. I'm sorry. Is Nick there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. Thank you
All
for
right.
the opportunity. And Colson, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to share at the beginning here. It sounded like maybe you
Yeah.
did. So maybe I'll pause for a minute. Is there something you want to share before I get involved and share a couple things?
No, I just wanted to say very nice things about you and Kyle, so I would like to invite you on the stage to talk about this.
Thank you. I appreciate that introduction then. So, first and foremost, I want to give a huge shout out to Graph Advocates for continuing to put on really high quality content for Community Talk. And I acknowledge Annie and all the people behind the scenes that are helping put on today's event. So, thank you so much. I myself am a Graph Advocate and a member of Graph Advocate DAO, and super proud to be part of that really important group with so many talented people that I consider friends. I'm here today to talk a little bit about the MIPS program. For anybody that doesn't know, the MIPS program is a new incentivized, testnet type program that was launched on August 25th. And it's here to welcome the multi-chain future to the Graph network. And so most of you probably already know that Ethereum was added as part of the decentralized network, but through the launch of MIPS, we're going to be adding a whole bunch of new chains to the decentralized network, starting with Gnosis chain. And in a minute, I'm going to welcome on Kyle Rojas with Edge and Node to talk a little bit about why we as a community should be excited about Gnosis chain and any other information that he wants to share about that really cool announcement. So before I turn it over to Kyle, maybe just a couple things for folks that are new here, or maybe you're like me and you have a non-technical background. When the Graph protocol launched, there was a testnet program initially, and that was called Mission Control. And Mission Control was an incentivized testnet, so that meant there were rewards for people that were willing to participate. And in Mission Control, we welcomed a lot of the OG, I'll call them the OG indexers that we see around now. So I don't have a full view of everybody that's on this call, but just as an example, I see Jim from Wave 5 here. Jim has been an indexer at the Graph and started in the Mission Control program, and there's a whole bunch of others that are well known and well recognized. So I've always been really envious and jealous of that, OG network that launched with Mission Control. And so for me, MIPS is really exciting. It's the next kind of round where I'm hoping we'll see a whole new next generation of indexers. And of course, we'll see a lot of those existing indexers as well join and participate in MIPS. By way of overview, I thought it would be interesting just to share some data. There were 1,782 applications to MIPS. So I don't know what the application total was to Mission Control, but 1782 for MIPS. And about 15% of those applicants are already indexers on the Graph. So a whole bunch of the applicants are not currently indexing at the Graph. So a whole bunch of new, fresh blood coming in terms of indexers interested in contributing during MIPS. And then the last data point I'll share is about 55% of those 1,782 applications were individuals. So not on a team or part of a larger group. It was an individual saying, I want to begin working as an indexer in the Graph. So I think those numbers are really exciting. I think they shine a bright light on the type of people that are interested in getting involved. And I'm sure there are people here in Community Talk that are getting ready to join MIPS and get involved. The last thing I'll say, and I'll welcome Kyle, is that there is a MIPS program kickoff call coming up here at the top of the hour, right? So at the conclusion of Community Talk, a lot of folks here will just move into the other channel where there will be a MIPS kickoff call. It's actually being hosted on Zoom. I don't want to lead anyone astray. You can find the details in Discord, but this is where information and direction will be provided to everybody who has applied for the MIPS program and needs to start getting ready to go to work on the Gnosis chain. So with that said, I'd like to welcome on Kyle Rojas. Kyle is on the business team at Edge and Node and has a lot of really great insight. Kyle's one of those guys that's everywhere all the time, right? Kyle is an incredible member of this community, always at events, always working with DApp partners and network partners. And so he's definitely the right guy to have on and share why we should all be excited about Gnosis Chain. So Kyle, welcome.
You're the man, Nick. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Awesome. That 1,700 plus number really blew my mind when I heard that come across. We've already gone up to, I think, 215 indexers that are fully on the network. So I can't wait to see what it's going to look like in a few months. It's really changing the game. But really good to be here. I see a lot of familiar faces, and thanks for having me on. But I think even if you know that the decentralized network is growing cross-chain, starting with Gnosis Chain, a lot of people might not know why it's such an exciting time. So I wanted to run over a few stats that excite me, and then I can answer any questions that you all may have. But first, when we were starting the migration for Ethereum subgraphs really in earnest, so going from tens to now almost 500, there weren't a whole lot of dApps that we were already in contact with about migration, and that were fully receptive to the switch from essentially a free to a paid service. And that's totally understandable, is even if you're okay with the costs, switching to something new from what you've been using and that has been working for years is a really hard band-aid to rip off, as we on the business team have been dealing with for a while. But fast forward to now, we have many hundreds of dApps on the network, some of them with extremely high volume on Ethereum alone, but are also power dApps that have millions of queries per day across many chains, not just ETH mainnet. So some of these power users have actually already committed, and not just committed, like excitedly, like 100% volunteered to putting their volume from every single chain on from the hosted service to the decentralized network as soon as the chains are available on the network. So we're already in testing with some of the largest query volumes on Gnosis chain alone as we speak. But just know that Gnosis chain migrations will hopefully ramp up faster and maintain volume more steadily than Ethereum mainnet. So that's one thing that is really getting me pumped up for this shift. Second, while the engineers and I will still be chasing projects on Ethereum to migrate, now we'll be able to chase Gnosis chain subgraphs in parallel. And that's only 2 chains, right? Imagine when we have 3, 4, 5 more chains integrated within the network, right? And I'm doing this cold outreach and relationship building across, right now, thousands of projects to get them ready for this migration. And we've honed in our pitch pretty well. We're very confident. We've got carrots. We've got, small stick coming with phase 1 of the 3-phase process to deprecation of the hosted service. Phase 2, which will come later, which would be no new upgrades, so they wouldn't be able to fix bugs in their subgraphs, would be the bigger stick. But we have a big enough carrot with marketing, with the grant program, and even with technical assistance. So we're really honing in our pitch, and it's being received extremely well. And that's exciting for me compared to the early days when we were just trying to figure this stuff out. But lastly, another thing that's more quantitative, when you think of where Gnosis chain volume sits with regards to overall volume of the hosted service, there's almost 20 million in daily query volume across a little over 200 subgraphs on Gnosis chain, with a handful well over 1 million queries per day that we're already in talks with. Multiple have already committed to wanting to move over the network, and those are the ones we're testing. So think of that as opposed to starting from scratch. Some of them are already using the network on Ethereum, have committed to Gnosis chain. We're testing their subgraphs on Gnosis, and this is just the first step, the very first baby step in the network going fully cross-chain. It's a super exciting time. And the better Gnosis chain performs, the better the push to add more chains and faster the push to add more chains will be. So get in the network, delegate to great indexers serving queries. That's important. Ones that are actually serving queries as opposed to simply pulling new issuance and token issuance, indexer rewards. Get on there and curate subgraphs to attract indexers to make sure every subgraph has a great experience, and then be ready for the network to really take off soon as we go from Gnosis to whatever chains we're able to add or the team's able to add by the end of the year and beginning of next year. So I'm pumped. I hope you're all pumped. And it's going to be really exciting next few months to quarters. I'll sign off for now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all of that, Kyle and Nick. How can you not be pumped after? It's just amazing. And to think that, Gnosis chain is, it's only the first other chain, along with Ethereum, to be moved over to mainnet. It's just, it blows my mind away. And I'm sure it blows everybody else's minds away as well. So can't wait to see how that turns out. And also can't wait for more chains to come over to the mainnet. It'll be super interesting and exciting. I can't wait. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Next segment, we do have Colson, who attended ETH Mexico City and NearCon, I believe. Yeah, hi, welcome, Colson.
Hi, Annie. I would also love to invite Martin Montero, but I'm not sure if he can speak yet. So if any of the moderators could give him the presenter role, that would be great. So yeah, I went to NearCon and to ETH Mexico with the Graph. And on those days, so NearCon was from September 11th to the 14th. We had the booth at the conference, and it was very, very lovely to meet people from all different projects, all different organizations that were super curious about the Graph. Some of them were using the Graph already, and some of them were not. And after they listened to what we did and what product we bring, they were super excited about us, and we might see a lot of adoption there in the near future as well. The one in ETH Mexico, though, was a little bit different because there were a lot of people building subgraphs on there. We also had a presentation from Simon from EdgeNode on NearCon and also on ETH Mexico. He hosted a workshop about making subgraphs and how to use the network. So that was also very interesting. And Martin, one of our Graph advocates, was also there to represent the Graph. And he was there in East Mexico. And I would love to have him on to speak a little bit about that. But I'm not sure if he can unmute yet. Okay, I also will just continue. So in East Mexico, it was very interesting that there was a lot of people from the Spanish-speaking community as well. Also, some of the other Graph advocates that I didn't even know were coming were there. So it was very great to meet everyone there, and also other people from the ecosystem that work on other projects that were there as well. I just think I just saw Martin unmute. Is that correct? Okay, well, not yet. Then I would like to give it back, and maybe we could swap around to Martin a little bit later on.
Alrighty, thank you so much for that, Colson. I'm sorry Martine cannot speak at the moment, but hopefully that can get resolved soon so that he can let us know his experience. ETH Mexico. All right. Next up, we have a segment on the merge, and we have Alex here with us who will dive deeper into that. Alex, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. Hi.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Hey, everyone. I'm Alex. I'm in the Advocates Program, also in the DAO. Really excited to talk a little bit about the merge and how it affects kind of the broader ETH ecosystem, and then zoom into the Graph and our community. But I'll start off with kind of ETH more broadly. So mining is no longer the means of producing valid blocks. That's like a huge thing, and we've switched over to proof of stake. So this is kind of like a monumental occasion. For users, though, you really don't have to do anything. Like if you have ETH in your hot wallet or your hardware wallet, it's still ETH. You don't have to worry about ETH1 versus ETH2. It's just Ethereum. Um, it's unaltered. The transaction history remains intact despite the switch to proof of stake. So you don't have to worry about that. A really nice benefit, though, is that energy consumption has dropped by approximately 99.95%. And I guess from like a day-to-day mechanics of just the work we do, that's like cool, whatever. But like that's really amazing from just like a societal widespread adoption, getting more people into our ecosystem as climate change and kind of green ethics and business become more prominent. I think these kind of KPIs and just um, milestones are super important. So this is like we should pat ourselves on the back, or I guess the ETH devs, because they did the work. Um, but yeah, just more context about why the energy consumption dropped. The proof of work algorithm was just extremely energy intensive, and so switching to proof of stake just dramatically reduces the energy expenditure and also kind of lowers the need for this hardware arms race to perpetually have a faster machine to solve the algorithm quicker than your competitors. And so there's some kind of secondary benefits too of ideally less electronic waste moving forward as people are disincentivized from buying extreme machines. Um, Unfortunately, the merge doesn't really affect gas fees because it doesn't enhance network capacity or throughput. So sorry about that, but in the future. And then staking withdrawals are still not enabled. And so that should be coming in 2023 with the Shanghai upgrade. Okay, so thank you for listening to that little ETH kind of overview. But now let's zoom into the graph. Let me scroll down real quick. Cool. So I guess I'm going to focus predominantly on not all the roles in the graph, but indexers and then kind of subgraph and dApp developers. So last week during Indexer Office Hours 76, Chris from GraphOps provided a really nice overview of the steps needed for indexers to kind of adapt to this change. And so I'd really recommend for you all to check out IOH 76 starting around 20 minutes and 30 seconds for a more detailed kind of technical discussion. But at a high level, indexers need to run a consensus client and an execution client to be functioning properly after the merge. There's a couple other technical steps, but they're covered in the IOH, so go check that out. So for dApp developers and subgraph developers, there's been some minimal breaking changes to some Ethereum like block structure and other technical specifics that are also a bit too deep for this talk. I'm going to share some links after I finish kind of speaking, but I'd really recommend consulting the Ethereum documentation for more specifics about impacts to the application layer. And I guess some smart contracts may need to be updated or rewritten, and downstream subgraphs will need to be updated or rewritten. So exciting times, lots of work to be done. And then I guess more broadly, the graph is now kind of being positioned in a really exciting place in the Ethereum roadmap with EIP 4844, proto dank sharding, everything but the shard, basically. And so at a kind of zoomed out level, sharding is splitting a database to kind of horizontally to spread the load and to just make it easier to run nodes on smaller power devices. And so this is really exciting because the graph is being presented as one of the options to solve the problem of accessing historical data older than 30 days, because with proto-dank sharding, they plan to delete data after 30 days. And so protocols like the graph will likely store the full ETH history. And Vitalik Buterin even tagged us in Twitter and I think a blog post that I'll share. But overall, it's really exciting times for the graph. I think the merge was kind of on the horizon for a while, and now that it's done, the whole Web3 community can focus on these next big technical challenges to tackle, and namely like proto-dank sharding. And I think the graph is really in an exciting place to help solve these challenges. But yeah, thanks for listening. And if anyone wants to pipe in with corrections or addendums, happy for it. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex, for that information from the merge. So yeah, the graph is going to play a very strong role in terms of archiving, historical data for Ethereum. So yeah, it's like you mentioned, Alex. Vitalik has also voiced his position on the graph and how he sees the graph playing an essential role in this. So yeah, it's really great stuff. All right, cool. Let's see, Martin Montero, are you able to speak now? Has that been resolved yet, or? Okay, it seems like you're still working on that. So at the moment, I would like to invite Oliver. He has a very important announcement to make in regards to AdvocatesDAO. So hello, Oliver.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Very good. Well, Martin, you still have 30 minutes to figure out the push to talk. So you still have time left. Thank you for bringing me on, Annie. I would like to share an announcement that's going to come out soon from the Graph Advocates DAO. We have achieved a number of milestones and accomplishments with the DAO over the last 6 months since we've summoned the DAO, almost to the day at this point. We've just sent out a tweet yesterday that touched on some of the achievements that the DAO has made in terms of growing the Graph Advocates program to now over 190 advocates, and also releasing the community grant process, where we already have seen over 50 proposals come through and a lot of engagement and activity in the community. So what the DAO wants to do is to showcase a little bit, take a moment to focus on the DAO, and have the DAO members present all of the things that the DAO engages in, and more importantly, how we engage in things. We have set up a number of decentralized processes, across various platforms, and there is a ton of activity that is happening in the DAO. We are processing, combined with DAO members, over 1,000 working hours each quarter. So there's a ton of activity. We see a ton of growth happening, and I think we feel it's time to show the Graph ecosystem all of the things that we're going to do. So right now, I think it's tentatively scheduled for October 5th, but we will probably have an announcement on the exact date coming out here in the next week. And it will be a public meeting that we will hold in the Graph Advocates DAO Discord server. Everybody is invited to join. We will also record it. So for those who will not be able to participate, they will have a chance to listen in on it. But I would love to see a high audience there, similar to what we have here today with Community Talk, because we have a lot to share and a lot of exciting things that the DAO has accomplished, which is also something I think interesting for the future DAOification of the Graph ecosystem, because DAO has really gained a lot of learnings that can also inform other DAOs in the future, to adapt some of the things that we have accomplished with the Graph Advocates DAO. All right, back to you, Annie.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, lots of exciting stuff to look forward to with Graph Advocates DAO. And I personally cannot wait for that presentation. So, yeah. Alrighty. Looks like we have some time left over. At this point, I would like to open up the floor for questions and answers for a little Q&A. So anybody that would like to, ask a question, feel free to do so. Yeah.
I might have a cool question for all of our advocates and all the other community members. Is anybody going to eat Bogota? Because I feel like there's a lot of people going. You guys might want to catch up with each other there.
I'm guessing nobody's going then from Graph Advocates DAO? Guess not. I'm sure lots of other advocates will be there though. All right. Any other questions? Anything regarding MIPS or the merge or any other topics discussed today? Stuff with the DAO.
Anyone going to DevCon?
I'm still FOMOing, Alex. It's gonna be good, huh?
I'll be there. I'll be presenting substreams over there. So come and cheer me up.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
How's it going with substreams? Like, is there any progress to be shared?
Well, it's progressing. I mean, I'd like to have more people try it out. If you haven't tried it out, come on, the docs are up there, and I'd like feedback. I want to make sure that people ramp up, and we also hone out all the different issues as to how to create a new mental model. The mental model for substreams is slightly different, so yeah, I want to get people from subgraph to substream, see what the process is, what where it where it breaks, where it's difficult. So that's a call to the community, I guess. It's powerful. The thing runs fast right now, today, so it's really cool. Anyway.
Awesome. Well, speaking of call to action to the community, we touched on it earlier, and that relates to community grants. So the community grants are now on the Graph Advocates DAO forum. I mentioned earlier we have over 50 proposals already. And one of the things that the Graph Advocates DAO has introduced is really a more working in public and transparent and community involved process. So everyone can now go in and post their vote. So every proposal that you see there, you can say yay or nay. And that is an important signal to the grant committee that is essentially making a recommendation to the DAO. But we really take the signal from the community serious. And it's an exciting opportunity really for everybody in the Graph ecosystem to weigh in on what is most important to you and what we should focus on in terms of providing support to community grant proposals. So really would love to see engagement come from all corners of the ecosystem. I think the way we have it set up right now provides a great opportunity for everyone to get engaged.
Yeah, I agree. And as I mentioned earlier, in the spirit of Web3 and being permissionless and all that, it's really great that anyone can, go onto the forum and just read up on these forum proposals and even vote essentially on how they feel. Oh, is that Martine?
It is, yeah.
Oh my gosh! All right, hi Martine.
Hey guys, sorry about that. That was
Oh,
It does
You're-
sound
Can you
like
hear
you're
me?
going through a tunnel, though.
yeah, it's kind of breaking up on us.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, okay,
Is better?
perfect. I can now, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, sorry about that. That little technical difficulty this morning. But yeah, my experience at Eve Mexico was really fun. I even lost my voice. Um, I found out that explaining the graph Web3 in Spanish takes a lot of analogies. It's not the same as explaining it in English. So that was a lot of fun learning.
Alrighty, cool. I'm not sure if Martine, you have anything else to add. You were breaking up quite a bit there at the end. But yeah, no, I'm happy that you were able to make it out there and hang out with people from the graph and get word out there on the graph and its ecosystem. Alrighty.
I'm not sure if Brainfry Dylan is able to speak, but he participated in Eat Mexico as a hacker, so that might also be
Oh,
a different
awesome.
point of view.
Don't mean to put you on the spot, Dylan, but
I asked him in the DMs. It's fine.
oh, okay, cool. All right, yeah. So, Dylan, if you'd like to share your experience as a hacker in ETH Mexico, yeah, go ahead. I see you're unmuted, but I cannot hear you. You might have push to talk enabled, maybe. Still can't hear you. Okay. Dylan, you can try to get that figured out, and that when you do, just holler. Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. Permissions may be missing. True, SD. If someone can give Dylan permission, that'd be cool. Alrighty. So while that gets figured out, does anybody else have any questions or comments? Was anybody else at ETH Mexico here in the community talk? Nope. All right. Well, I, for one, am super excited about the MIPS program. Has anybody here applied to the MIPS program? Curious.
I did.
You did?
Yeah,
Colton?
yeah. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. How exciting. So, I believe the MIPS program, like, applications are closed already, right? Colson?
Yes, I believe the
Yeah.
deadline was yesterday.
Right.
But
Right.
I'm not
Correct.
sure.
Yeah, it was yesterday. So, yeah, that's awesome, Colson. Cool to hear. Anybody else apply?
I see your name change, Colton. Now, Index Holland, is that your indexer account and together with Tim?
Yeah, and together with one of the other guys that just applied for the Graph Advocates program. They both studied computer science, so hopefully they can help me out a little bit. And we're currently setting everything up. It's a pretty big learning experience. Index talking
I also
about after
applied.
2 years of index office hours. So yeah, just decided. Oh, hey, sorry.
Alrighty. Cool. I don't know if it was kind of, the audio was kind of lagging on my end. I don't know if it was just me. But yeah, no, that's awesome. It looks like we have more applications in the chat, or applicants. We have Jim from Wave5 who also applied to the MIPS program. Stake Machine also applied. Tomorrow, Lex Prime, Vince. So yeah, that's awesome. And a lot of these, I recognize these names too. You guys are like OG indexers, so that's awesome. Can't wait to see what comes out of this program, honestly. All right, I see Dylan is back. Dylan, would you like to try to speak now?
I don't know if it'll let me. I don't know if I can figure this out.
I can hear you. So,
Oh, awesome. Oh
cool.
man,
Hi, welcome.
Discord today. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so just to give my 2 cents on ETH Mexico, kind of keep circling back to that, but I just want to put in a quick plug for ETH Global. They're a great event organizer, and they threw an amazing event at ETH Mexico, and I think all their events are amazing. As a hacker, from a hacking perspective, it's really amazing to connect with people and share ideas and just dive into something that is 36 hours long, and just communicating ideas and trying to work together and trying to build this thing and then submit it right at the deadline. It's pretty, I don't know, gets your adrenaline going, gets a nice rush going. It's pretty fun. I encourage everyone to at least try at least one ETH Global event. And yeah, I can link to their Discord, to the Discord server. If you have any questions, I'd reach out to them. But it's definitely a great experience for anyone to try, and you don't have to be technical. There's front end design. There's lawyers that participate. There's a lot of technical people, obviously, a lot of business experience that goes into that. But every group that I've worked with, from the Graph Day hack to this ETH Global hack, it's I still keep in contact with them, and we still talk through Discord. So it's pretty great experience to meet new people and collaborate on these cool ideas that just pop up out of nowhere. So it's very fun. The other thing that we forgot to mention, that didn't get mentioned, I don't think, was Vitalik did do a little surprise appearance there at ETH Mexico as well. So I think his talk is recorded somewhere. If not, it's shared by the ETH Global team as well. So I would check that out. He gave us some pretty cool information prior to the merge. It was kind of building up our suspense. So it was fun. It was a fun experience. I definitely recommend it for everyone to try. That's it. That's all I have.
Just to add on that, when I first joined these hackathons, I thought it was pretty intimidating. And then after 5 minutes of being there, it's just everybody's so friendly and it's very inclusive to all tech levels. So if you ever see a hackathon hopping around, like around your city, or you will see a cool city that you want to go to where a hackathon is happening, I would definitely recommend just going there and check everything out and maybe even join.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Colson and Dylan. Yeah, I went to my first crypto event on Graph Day, and I stayed for the Graph Hack, and it was truly amazing to see everyone just collaborating and working day round, day and night. So they're pretty fun events. Even I, as a non-technical person, I was there and had fun. So yeah, thank you. All right. So in a little under 15 minutes, we have the MIPS Program kickoff event in this server. Or it's actually not in the server, it's actually on Zoom, but you can find the link to that in the events section of the server. And I was wondering if there's anybody here who would like to speak a little bit about that kickoff. If you would like to speak, you can unmute.
I don't have anything for that, but I do have something else.
Cool.
I'm going to be organizing a regular call with the Graph Ecosystem Fund. It's a $215 million fund with I think there's about 6 different participants, Multicoin Capital, Reciprocal Ventures, Gummy Cryptos, some of those. And I'm going to be coordinating these calls with them. So if you or any projects that are raising, if you could send me a DM and let me know, and then I can transfer that information to all these participants of this ecosystem fund. And you can find me on Twitter through DMs. I'm Bombay on Chain, or through Discord DMs as well.
Well, thank you so much for that, Christina. Great to hear. Alrighty. So, anybody else have anything they would like to discuss or questions? Alrighty. Well, then I guess we can just wrap it up at this point. So, thank you everybody for joining Community Talk number 15, and I look forward to seeing everybody again next month. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Sorry about all the tech issues.